Hey everybody, this is rebelfrak, and just wanted to. Right now, I've got the camera. It's aimed at the window. I'm trying to focus in on some of the raindrops. It's raining here in Northern California, and that's a good thing. We need the rain. It's good for the fields. It's good for the animals. It's good for the lakes and such. Maybe we won't have as many. Wildfires and such this summer. But I wanted to speak on a topic. This is a video response to a few of my subscribers who were actually commenting on one of my vlogs, which was nonviolence and vegetarianism. And a few of them had said, that, well, they would think about maybe, not eating some meats, but, they just couldn't give up eating meat altogether. And a few of them that were, I got one comment from a fellow who lives in a part of the country where, it's conducive for hunting. And so, he actually makes, skinning knives, and he's into, fishing and hunting. And so what I wanted to talk about is, it's called moral vegetarianism. And for a lot of people, the word morals and ethics are used interchangeably. However, I tend to, when I speak of ethics, I generally use that in connection with institutions or deliberative bodies, meaning the law and ethics, medicine and ethics, corporate ethics. And I generally use morals when speaking of individuals, behaviors and actions of individuals. So that would be moral vegetarianism. So what I wanted to, one of the reasons why I think vegetarianism is important would be for this. There are parts of the world where people are starving, where a bowl of rice or a big pot of rice it's good. Okay, that means that they will have a meal for themselves and their families for one day, maybe 2 or 3 days. Now, the reason, if I'm speaking specifically right now, I'm speaking of India, where there is land there, and food is being grown, okay? But unfortunately, what happens is the land is in private hands, or it's owned by the government, and the food that is grown, the grains that are grown, that food is shipped to New Zealand, Australia, the United States, Great Britain, Canada, and it is used to feed animals that are then slaughtered and packaged and sold in those same countries, okay, as a commodity. So, and this is, I can give you the research, on the statistics on this. I'm not just saying this. This is true. So what happens is, again, in those parts of the world where the people are starving, they have land and they are growing food. Unfortunately, the governments and those private owners, they are growing grains that are used to feed animals in other parts of the world, which are then slaughtered, and the food and the meat is being sold here. So when you eat meat, you are contributing to the starvation of another people in another part of the world that has land, good land, that can provide and sustain them, but it is owned by private individuals and or governments, and they are using the land to grow food, to provide food for animals in another part of the world, which are slaughtered and turned into food for people in that part of the world. I'm sorry if it sounds circular, but that is the truth of it. So when you that roast beef, okay, that pork chop that you are planning to eat tonight, just know that chances are that it was fed on grains that was grown in a part of the world where the people are starving, okay? And I don't know if anyone remembers, there was a bit of a crisis a few years back where this similar practice was being used in parts of Guatemala and Honduras, where the owners of some of the, I'm just going to call them the banana farms, where they were told, you are to grow only bananas. the ground, the soil is can grow much more than that. But they were allowed to have a few gardens for themselves and their families, but they were not to grow yams, potatoes, any types of produce and then sell it to or give to the people. And some of the owners balked at that because the people are starving and they have land where they can literally feed the people. But there is a system in place that says, no, you are to grow bananas. You're to ship the bananas here. You'll be paid for it, so you'll be fine. But your fellow countrymen, sorry, you are not to provide for them. Well, these owners balked, and there was a big to-do, and then a hurricane happened, and a lot of those farms lost their topsoils. But that is what I'm talking about. So that was that whole banana scandal or whatever. I'm being general about it because I don't want to, I don't want to run out of tape here. But that was in Central and South America. So in places like India, it is a similar situation where there is land, where there is good land, okay, and food is being grown, but the grains that are being grown is then shipped to what we would call the developed world, United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and they are using the grains to feed their animals. The animals are then slaughtered and packaged and sold to Canadians, New Zealanders, Americans, so that we can have our roast beef and our meatloaf and our bacon. Okay, if it was cyclical, if it was circular, excuse me, meaning if we then shipped the meat down to India and then the people were allowed to eat some of the meat, well, that would be okay, but that's not the case. Okay, it's almost like it works in one direction, and so the people down there are starving. Okay, and so when you eat meat, you are contributing to the starvation and the oppression of a group of people in another part of the world. Okay, that would be a reason to not eat meat. If you don't want to add to the suffering and the starvation of anyone on the planet, then don't eat meat. You don't have to eat meat. The human body, in all honesty, is designed to eat plants, grains, and fruits. Our digestive system is that of a frugivore. Okay, remember we evolved from primates. Primates are frugivores. Okay, yes, they can eat meat, but they generally don't. Okay, and I'll talk about that in another topic. Okay, because let me tell you, remember me, I'm a rebelfrak. Okay, so when I latch onto something, I check it out and I investigate it from stem to stern. But on this one, I just wanted to, this again is just a video response for those people who, who commented and, they like their hunting, or they like their meats. They're willing to give up some meat, but not all meat. Hey, buddy, if you don't want to add to the starvation of another people in another part of the world, then don't eat meat. And it's not your fault that the system is in place. Okay, you didn't come up with the system. I didn't come up with the system, but it's there. But if you don't want to have anything to do with that system that is oppressing another group of people, then don't eat meat. And you live in a country where, in all honesty, you don't have to eat meat. You're not going to starve if you don't eat meat. Okay, and that's the truth of it. You will not starve. Okay? This is rebelfrak.